So John the Philosopher here, and I'm with the team from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show. Mike Ferguson, Ken Williams, and of course me. I'm part of that team too. And we've just finished our first week at the station, NewsTalkSTL, and I'm so very excited. How did you guys feel it went?
Okay, so when you start any kind of new show, a lot of times you hope that nobody is listening for the first little while because there's going to be technical glitches, you're still getting used to each other, all that kind of stuff. I really hope people were listening. I've been in this business a long time, and I thought that week it went better than we expected. It was a lot of fun, and I think it went. I think it really went well. It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to constantly improve on stuff. But I got to tell you, Ken, you've been in the business long as I have. I think that the week went really well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the producer of the show, and I have to build some of the audio content, for these guys. And I had concerns. I told Gabe off the air here that I had my concerns, and I really am so pleasantly surprised the way it ended up turning out. Like you, I hope we have so many different listeners right now because it just started rolling, and you know what? We can say it now. It was a fabulous week.
Yeah, it was great.
Here's the thing: is a lot of times when a new show starts, you're going into a radio station that already exists.
Right. Yeah.
So literally, we're still finishing the building, and by we mean the engineers are still finishing this. So when we went on the air on 5:30 on Monday, that was the first time we were going to find out whether everything was working.
Actually worked
the way that it was, because this was all brand new out of the box and being installed. So there were so many moving parts.
And occasionally you'd hit a button and it wouldn't exactly do what you were expecting, or you had to hit it in a certain sequence that we didn't know. It's like all those. Things.
And then we'd make a note. Okay, that didn't work.
That didn't work.
Okay. And another thing too is I think chemistry is something you can't put a number on as far as financial number to pay for it. And we really, I think anyway, that all three of us together had some great chemistry on the air. So.
I feel that way for sure.
Yeah, and it helps that we've all known each other.
We've worked together. Yeah, it's really great. And I think that's the kind of the same thing across the board at this station. They're all very familiar names in the St. Louis radio market. We've all on some level worked together. There's a lot of overlap. If you were to make a Venn diagram of work, we'd all be touching each other, and not in a good way. But
he said that to his wife.
In a good way. Yeah, exactly. Easy. For those who may be a little skeptical about switching the dial or otherwise tuning in at all, what do you have to say to them to get them on board with tuning into us every day?
Great question. I mean, more information is always better. Different perspectives are better. We're not saying delete anybody else off of your schedule. We're saying add us to it and check in. This radio station would not be here if we didn't see that there was a need for it, that there was a demand for it, and that's what we're feeling. So add us to the presets. We're not saying never listen to anybody else. Just mix us in.
And if you're a familiar person to the old station, we're like comfort food.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome home is our mantra, and it's like that. I mean, if you tune into us, you're going to hear familiar voices, but also you're going to hear content that you're going to feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
That you'll feel comfortable with listening to.
Yeah, I mean, it may be challenging stuff. There may be opinions you disagree with from time to time, and
those are the best kind.
And this is one thing that's different. Is when we were putting this show together, and we're all going out to lunch, and we're texting, we're emailing, we're going through stuff. Is the one thing all of us passionately agreed about was that we are not going to become another echo chamber. We have enough of those. The left has all kinds of echo chambers. Let's be honest, so does the right.
Yeah.
And
so developed our own.
We're all on some scale of conservative to libertarian, and there are other shows out there that have viewpoints like ours.
Yeah.
But we are not going to say, okay, what's good for our tribe? Let's find a way to meet that and just push what the tribe is. We're calling balls and strikes.
Yeah.
We're talking about primarily before we're a libertarian or a conservative or independent or a Republican or whatever. Before that, we are a part of this community.
Yeah.
And that succeeds any other priority.
And we're bringing to light, though, the things that most of the media should be.
Yes.
And they're
Yes.
not bringing to light.
Right.
We're like that catalyst that is needed to get this information to you that otherwise the media wouldn't give you.
Yeah, both left and right media on some level
Both
too.
left and right.
Because like Mike was saying, we have this tribalism sort of thing going on our side too that can obfuscate the truth, which is usually somewhere in the middle and obviously really far to the right of the mainstream. But you know what I'm saying.
And the thing is that if you're convinced you're right, and in our views and our policies, we're convinced we're right.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to fear from two things. You've got nothing to fear from an honest conversation. You've got nothing to fear from learning or pursuing the truth.
Yeah,
you can
have to change our mind. Call us and change our mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, it's we've got so much hatred and vileness. We've had 2 or 3 people call this week and said, "Okay, I completely disagree with you." Great, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we
it
ended
was
that
cool.
call laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
John,
great.
listener John.
Yeah, John was hoping some of us die.
Yeah,
but
but
you know what? We ended
We're
that
here.
call with a laugh. It was just
Right.
it was fine because the thing is you can't really get into this business if you got thin skin,
Right.
and so
Yeah, really.
it is what it is. But we understood where he was coming from as well, and that's the thing. We kind of laugh off the silliness of sort of the partisanship of that left right dichotomy. Then we actually listened to what he was saying. Now we could disagree.
We disagreed,
with
yeah.
it.
Totally disagreed.
But I could come away with I get it, but you're wrong.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, he called me an ignorant Trump supporter. But
Exactly. Yeah, that's fine.
I said I'm an educated Trump supporter. How about that one?
Yeah. So
For me personally,
Yeah.
it's just a pleasure. You know, we've gotten through our first week now, so we've essentially got our, as you would say, got our feet wet. And I really enjoy you two working with you two. I really do. I had a lot of fun this week.
I actually like these guys. It's kind of funny.
Not fake.
Yeah, but lastly, and this is kind of speaking to some of the content on my other videos. I did actually a whole series on the culture war and how the right needs to be fighting the culture war, what we can do better, and I like to comment on things like how movies and things like that influence younger people in particular in the culture and how it kind of inculcates them in certain ways of thinking. And just wanted to ask you guys, where do you see talk radio, particularly, because conservative talk radio is kind of dominating the talk radio genre. Where do you see talk radio fitting into the wider culture war?
I think the first thing is drawing attention to the aspects of the culture war. It's really easy to say, look at what they're doing, that is just awful, and then just stopping right there with pounding on how terrible
That's going halfway.
something is.
Yeah.
So I think what talk radio should be doing, what we're going to be doing, is equipping you to understand, okay, not only what's happened, and there are times where, listen, if you want to call in and there's some horrible, immoral, cultural influence, we can agree to disagree on which candidate to vote for. There are things that are just right and wrong, but what we're going to do is, whether you are 15 years old listening, whether you are 55, whether you are 85 years old, my goal is to not just tell you what's happening, but give you some kind of intellectual equipment to deal with it. Deal with it when you're talking about it to your neighbors, to your church, and your coworkers, most importantly, to the young people in your life. Because the way we're going to fight this culture war back is to do it through truth, through honesty, and through knowing how to counteract not just the facts, but the ethics of it all. And we got to know why it's important that culture wars aren't just people who disagree with us. You live your life however you want, but there are bigger pictures as to who and what we are together. And that requires a lot of debate, and this is the perfect place to do it.
Yeah, and radio being involved in the culture war, I think, is really important because we're going to open your eyes to things that you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. That's one thing, but it's going to give you a lot of information. We want to arm you with information, so when you do go to that proverbial water cooler and you're talking to people and they say something silly about how, well, you're for Trump, you're a racist. What do you mean? Then you can continue that conversation with them and say, no, and here's why. And then we will tell you, if you listen, we'll give you hints on how to do that.
If you successfully wage a culture war on the right side, the casualty should be bad ideas. The casualty should be a lack of ethics. It's not people. We want to win over your minds and your hearts. The casualty should be the bad idea infections.
Exactly, and I totally agree with all that. I think one of the things that we are emphasizing too is the conversation, the actual conversation. It's not we're not the bombastic, we're going to tell you what to think station. We're not that at any point. I think in our run here, and particularly on our show. We want to talk to you about it, and we want to talk with each other about these things. You know, it's kind of the iron sharpens iron idea, right?
Right.
We want to get to a place where, like you said, where the bad ideas, the falsehoods, those are the casualties in this war. We're not really fighting each other. We're just fighting the bad ideas. So if you agree with that, if you disagree with that, throw a comment down below. You can talk about any of these things. I would love to interact with you. You can interact with these guys at NewsTalkSTL on Facebook or Twitter. And then you can call us on our show where we'll list all that stuff. Go to newstalkstl.com if you want to get more information on that. But individually, you want to give your socials there?
Yeah, absolutely. On Facebook, look up Mike Ferguson Media. Because I do another show outside of this that's a syndicated show on the weekends. And if you're on Twitter, it's at AVP Radio Show. And AVP stands for American Viewpoints.
Not Aliens versus Predator.
No.
That's a whole other...
That's what I heard. When I first heard that, I was like, all right, AVP.
That's why I included radio show on that.
Yeah, exactly.
AVP radio show. Where's that going?
Yeah, now you've been permabanned from Twitter, haven't you?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Back in November,
he was a casualty of the culture war, the way they fight it currently.
And I did not do anything really derogatory. I could probably say the heels up Harris thing might have been a little bit over, but it was not something that should get rid of me for.
No.
But no, so my Twitter accounts, I'll be getting one.
Yeah.
But right now you just go to NewsTalkSTL on Facebook and you'll get a hold of me.
Yeah, just say that you want to talk to Ken.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, get in the comments. You can mash it up with each other as well. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, and share to this channel for more videos on religion, culture, and politics. Goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you in another video.